What is up? Welcome back to the On the Burst podcast. I'm your coach, Brandon Savage, and I'm joined by my assistant coach, Big Les. We are back. We've had an 8-week hiatus. It's good to be back.
Mate, it is good to be back. I love being in the studio again. It's great. Keen to get into some rugby league. There's plenty to talk about, isn't there?
There's so much to talk about. And firstly, just off the top of the bat, why have we been gone for a couple of weeks? I started a new job, so I wasn't sure what I could commit to it. And I wanted to get into the place. I wanted to put 100% into this show. Les. Les has been a trooper. And, you know, when I told him, I don't think I can keep doing it, his soul was crushed.
It was, mate. It was. I was dying.
You became homeless for 7 weeks, and now you have home.
Got no job. Nothing. On the streets.
No, but as soon as I sent him a message saying, hey, I'm ready to run it back again, he was like, I'm in. So Les, he's the perfect co-coach, assistant coach.
That's
assistant coach. Maybe we're co-head coaches. That's what we should call ourselves.
I like that. I actually like that. I like the Walker brothers.
I like the Walker brothers. Firstly, the rugby league, how have you found it over the last 7 weeks? I know our last review was the Vegas games. Crazy. There's been so much to unfold and so much that has gone up and down, and just like anybody can win from here, to be honest.
Yeah, but not even that. Just like the transfer windows that we've had over the past 8 weeks, Dylan Brown, Lockie Galvin, Jamal Fogarty as well. Like, it's just been a wild start to the year. The bunker, which we'll get to, like, it's been so hectic. And, I mean, it's enjoyable for us fans because we get to sit here, we get to froth it all in and then talk about it as well.
I often think about one of our early preseason podcasts where we did all our predictions and stuff. Xavier Savage is one I just always keep an eye on. He's kind of fallen off a cliff after that first few weeks, but I'm really keen to look back on that at the end of the year because I feel like we're in a space where, like, we were so locked in and ready for the season to happen, and like I haven't listened to that podcast since, but I think a lot has gone so differently, and I wasn't expecting it to be that way.
Well, 100%. Like, straight off the bat, the Dolphins, like, they were way different to what I thought they were going to be. Like, I honestly reckon they're a top 4 threat now, like, with the way that they're playing and the squad that they've got. If they can, get some consistent footy and win a few games, like, they're going to be completely different to where I had them, which was like 10th or 11th or something.
We both tipped the Warriors for the spoon, and after week 1, we were like, we've nailed it.
Yeah.
We haven't nailed it.
They're in the top 4.
Yeah. They haven't lost a game since Vegas.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's fucked.
So, the Warriors, I think the Raiders, a lot of people tip for the top bottom 4, spoon even. So
I mean, the Dogs.
The Dogs. The Cowboys and the Roosters at the moment, like, I feel like the Roosters have overachieved. The Cowboys have won 4 in a row. This season is the closest it's been in a long time, and I'm excited for it. But we will kick off the show. 18 sin bins over the weekend. Is it getting out of hand? What are your thoughts on the crackdown?
Mate, it is getting out of hand, isn't it? It's really just shit to watch as a fan. Like, you want to see the games flow. You want to see, really good games of footy without all these penalties and sin bins and things like that. I honestly reckon, and I think that they've sort of got the first step underway. I think Michael Chamis reported it only a few minutes ago, a few hours ago now from when we're recording, but just going over the change in the bunker officiating, so they can't officiate on plays that have happened 3 or 4 tackles ago, which is perfect. That's definitely the right step in the direction. But I think that they just shouldn't be allowed to rule on anything other than try-scoring situations.
Yeah.
I think that it's been thrown around quite a bit over the past few weeks, especially leading into this season, especially with the bunker and how everything was handled last season. To be in a similar, maybe even worse position to start the year in the opening 8 weeks, I think that it's definitely something that they need to consider. And I think that the on-field referee, if they don't change it that way, I almost feel like the on-field referee should have the ability to overturn the bunker if they see something differently. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100% agree with that take in particular, because I see a person in the bunkers making a decision. You can tell sometimes the ref just doesn't agree with it. Firstly, I like how they've come out and said the bunker can't rule on things in tackles pass, because I was going to come in here today and say that they can't rule on tackles that happened a couple of sets ago, because one, you don't even get the penalty for it. Like, a team could be an attacking ball and score a try even, but the team who got the penalty and the sin bin against them at a disadvantage. Like, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think if the ref doesn't catch it there and then it's not bad enough to be a sin bin, in my opinion. One thing that does really frustrate me, I think the crackdown it has good intentions. Like, I think this needs to be out of the game, like shots to the head, but I think they've got to be more realistic about it. The ex-players going on all these news panels and all these talkback shows saying, this is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. They're the reason this is happening, because their generation is coming in and, suing the NRL. They've got players from past who are suing the NRL, and that's why they don't want to be in this position in the future, because it's so under a microscope, and they've got to make sure they do the right thing going forward for the NRL and the longevity of the game. But they've gone too far with it. If the ref doesn't see it there and then I think it's a pass. I think one solution for it, potentially, if a person goes up for a HIA, then that's when the sin bin should be in play.
Yeah.
If they don't go for a HIA, they shouldn't even worry about it if they're going back on the play, like if the bunker is ruling on that play, if that makes sense.
I think the common sense rule should be introduced, mate. Common sense. So, for example, if a ref was to rule a high tackle, it gets challenged, they look at it, and, it's just like a lazy arm or it's something, and it's light contact, it's not moderate force, things like that. The common sense rule should come in where they go, hey, common sense would suggest that this isn't too hard of a hit, especially if the player's okay and that you can tell that they're, faking it to get the penalty and to staying down for the penalty. Like, common sense rule should be introduced, so then, it just keeps the game flowing, but it also alleviates us from seeing these, really controversial high tackles that aren't really that bad result in sin bins.
Another aspect of it that does really frustrate me is when a player slips and gets someone in the head. Like, I get it could probably be a penalty, but like if someone slips and you get him in the head, you're not meaning to put that extra force into the tackle. Like, you're trying to hit them in a spot where is legal. Yeah. And then it's just gone wrong. And I get, like, you've got a duty of care by yourself to make sure you get the tackle right, but it's also there's so many different circumstances where it could go wrong, and it could go wrong if someone has no bad intentions. So I just think, a lot of common sense.
Yeah, common 100%. Sense rule.
The Penrith Panthers, another loss on the weekend. Where does that put them for you? It looks like based on the last few years, they need to win 11 out of 16 to make the 8. Are they done?
I think they need a 5-8. I think they need a better 5'8" than Blaze Talangi. Like, Blaze Talangi's good, his attack's great. I just don't think he's ready to be a 5'8", and I don't think he's the 5'8" necessarily that Cleary needs. And we'll sort of get to that in a second when we talk about the transfer window, because I've got a bit of a take for you. But I just think that they need a bit of a better 5'8". But I also think, like, Edwards and Yo, they get through a bunch of work, but they need to assist Cleary more and take a bit of the attacking pressure off him, because Cleary's generating a lot of the set plays and he's sort of the instigator for a lot of their movements. I would really like to see Edwards maybe get into first receiver a few times and get those set plays going down the right edge, or Yowie getting into first receiver a little bit as well. Give Cleary a little bit of a time to sort of stand behind the ruck and assess the situation as well before he injects himself. Like, he just needs his other guys to help out a little bit, because Talangi's great, but Talangi is a low percentage, very X-factor runner of the football. He's a 5'8", but I think Cleary almost needs a halfback in the 6 jersey to sort of take pressure off him. And again, we'll get to that in the transfer window, but I just think he needs another half in there.
Cleary is a really good halfback, but you still need players around you to kind of help you get through the tough times. And the outside backs are not doing anything. I think To'o being out has really hurt them. Yeah. To'o was out and Dylan Edwards was out when To'o was in, so they really haven't had that 1-2 punch of Edwards and To'o, so I think that's really hurt them. But they're at the stage now where Origin's coming up, that they need to win a lot of games, and the competition's so close, which is going to work in their favour. I think they can get it together, but it's so worrying that the fact that they're losing all these games, conceding more than 20 points. I thought they were back last week, but just after this week,
Can I throw something at you?
Yeah.
Cleary's probably looking at this record going, shit, we've got to start winning games. Does he pull himself out of Origin?
Oh, that's such a tough one, because I think Origin, like, if Penrith don't win the comp this year, or don't even make finals, like no one's going to say anything about Cleary's legacy.
Yeah.
If Cleary comes out and dominates Origin this year, then that's just everything everyone's been asking for the last couple of years to settle that future immortal debate.
Yeah.
That's the one thing he needs to nail in the coffin. Even though I think he's done well in Origin, I just think he will go out there and he hasn't really it's more of a self-satisfactory thing. Like he wants to know that he's given his all.
If they miss the 8, sure, like it won't hurt his legacy too much. If they get bottom 4, that's when you sort of start going, oh, shit.
It's a bit tricky. I'd love to... It's hard because after this year, the question will come under the microscope.
Yeah.
It'll be how the year follows because, I think every team is entitled to a down year. Jonathan Thurston was constantly in a bottom 4 team.
Yeah.
He did win the comp in 2015, but he was at the Cowboys for so long and they struggled for a long time. So, it's a tricky one.
It is a tricky one.
I don't know.
Mate.
What are your thoughts?
I think that there's a possibility. I think that he will probably play Origin, but I think it's definitely a question that needs to be asked because any player, especially a star player, looking at their team in this current situation of you need to win the next 11 of 16 games to make finals, he's going to be like, this is actually something I might need to think about.
The thing in their favour is they missed 2 of the 3 Origin bye rounds where the Origin players missed. So I think there'll just be pressure under him to back up and make sure he's there for them games. And, he'll get an early rest during the week. He'll get rest during the game. So I don't think Origin's under threat. We are going to hear your New South Wales Origin team later in the episode. So me and Hads from the podcast did ours last week. The numbers online are going crazy at the moment. So 80K in 2 days for my one.
Pressure.
50K overnight for Hads' one last night.
Yep.
And Instagram, they're doing very similar numbers as well. So, very excited to hear your team. I'm doing the Queensland team, which was very hard to do,
mate,
mind you.
It's so hard.
Yeah, because Queensland are trash.
Yeah,
so you're getting a team together. Last take. So we've been gone a couple of weeks. The Lockie Galvin saga really hit last week. Man, we should have come back a couple of weeks
earlier.
Mate.
What are you doing?
Sorry, that's my bad. But Lockie Galvin, the trade window has come into question after all this saga, and the manager has really kicked stones to try get him an early release, or so we think. What are your thoughts on the trade window coming up? It's been suggested everywhere.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I think that's perfect for this sort of scenario. I think that it would be perfect for Jackson Hastings' current scenario as well. He's obviously at a club that don't want to play him at the moment. Maybe he would benefit from a trade window where maybe he goes to another club and they get a young halfback in or something like that. I think it would definitely be a good move. I think that you've got a lot of players in a similar boat. I personally think that this would be perfect, and this would be a perfect idea for Penrith, who are currently struggling. We just spoke about it. They need a 5'8". Galvin to the Panthers, Talangi to the Tigers. Maybe that would be if the trade window was to come in, I think that would be perfect. I think people got to remember as well, Talangi's on, not that much but Galvin, he's on 250, 300K. He's not on 800, 900. He's not on their $1 million contract he was offered by the Tigers. He's on 250 to 300K. So you can, make that change with someone that is a little bit lower on the salary cap, but you're still obviously getting potential back. Talangi and Luai would be a cheeky little halves pairing to give Luai an opportunity to be the halfback, because over the past few weeks, Luai has taken a backward step for Galvin. It would give Luai the opportunity to really stand up and be a halfback of a side as well, and we would get to actually see that rather than the dynamic we're getting from Galvin and Luai. But also, Galvin would go to Penrith and need to be able to assist Cleary, because Galvin, we know he loves to get plenty of touches and get highly involved. And that would take a lot of pressure off Cleary in their set pieces as well. I just think it would be a perfect move.
So you think Galvin's going to Penrith? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if there is a trade window that comes in, and if he does get the opportunity to leave partway through this season, I think that Penrith need to absolutely pounce at him, because he would definitely fix a lot of problems there in regards to taking a lot of pressure off Cleary, giving the side a little bit of direction with Cleary. I think, adding an extra kicking game in there as well. They're quite one-dimensional on last tackle plays because, Cleary's getting the ball, Cleary's going to kick it. Just adding that other option in there, it's a perfect move. I think that would be a great move for the Panthers to make.
It feels like that's the sort of 5'8" they need. it's obvious that Blaze's development at 5'8" at the moment is really, really taking a backseat. And like whether Penrith want to bite on that or not, I think they want to be really successful now because they've got the team to do it. They just need a 5'8". I think they are struggling for outside backs, but back to the trade window, I don't think it changes anything. That can still happen now. Like Talangi could go to the Tigers if he really wanted to. He's under contract, so it wouldn't happen. But I just think the trade window delays the inevitable. Like all the speculation is going to happen anyway. Like if this Daly Cherry Evans thing come out and Daly Cherry Evans was like, I'm going to be available for the trade window, it's pretty much the same scenario, except he's doing all these talks behind closed doors and then it would just come out that he signed with someone, whereas like if it was the trade window, it'd just be the same, except
it'd be public.
All the conversations are delayed and in the public, like there's still be things happening behind closed doors.
I mean, that would be great for the fans, but like, could you imagine that this was all in the open? We had a lot of we could hear these discussions, potential guys that, you know, could replace DCE in that trade window sort of sense. I'd love it. I think that'd be great from a fan's perspective, of content's perspective.
I think a way it could work is potentially, instead of doing like a trade window that's like for all kind of purchases, then keep the system as is. I can piss off the November one the year before, like make that a bit later, like maybe June 30 the next year. So if a player wants to leave a club, that they can start talking the year before from June 30 or something like that. I think my thoughts are have the trade window there for the draft. Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah,
trade window or like a draft?
Well, I was actually going to bring it up. I was actually going to bring it up. Do you reckon there should be a draft? Like a rookie draft?
I completely got confused. So
no, I'm talking about a trade window, like you're trading two players. That's what I'm thinking you're talking about.
Oh my God.
Is that what you're talking about?
I've completely messed this up. No, I'm talking about like a draft window, like over a... Oh, no, wait. I can't be... completely fuck this up. No, so what would a trade window be in your mind? Like a 2-month period?
Yeah.
1 month period? 2-week period?
Like similar to NBA, like just that sort of like before a certain date.
And that's the only time you think they could sign?
Yeah. But if you want to go down the draft chat, maybe like they do a draft night, you get all the rookies, have that whole shebang. You draft rookies, the different clubs, evens out the juniors. But then, for example, Blaze Talangi is the second round pick for, let's just say, the Panthers, and you know you got a Manly that want to get rid of DCE. Let's trade Blaze Talangi for DCE with a second round pick or something like NBA.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I don't mind that. I think the way it would work is current system as is, push back the November 1st thing to June 30 the next year.
Yeah.
So I think that like tightens the period, so it's not like who's signed for a club next year. Like DCE, he's not playing for the Manly next year, but he's playing the whole year with the current club. I think move that back to June 30 so all them sort of talks and the signatures happen in the last 6 months of the season. And then have like a draft window where it's like, or a draft kind of system where someone who is on the open market can say, hey, I don't want to sign with a club for an agreed amount. I want to go to the open draft.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like say the open draft is at the end of the year and your move is for next year. It's like, I guess things could go in place for it to happen over one night because drafts happen in one day, right?
Yeah.
Or they could happen over a couple of days or something.
Yeah.
Players can opt to go into the open draft if they want to push their value up.
Like a free agent draft sort of thing.
Yeah, a free agent draft. So like not all players would do it. Like the elite players will kind of potentially lock in the clubs they really want to go to. But there could be like up and coming talents like Lockie Galvin could really... like just doesn't want to go to the Tigers, but like imagine him later this year being on an open draft. Like he'd be the hot property all year being like, who's going to bid for him in the draft? You know, Penrith have this money ready for him.
And you wouldn't have clubs sort of ruling themselves out of buying him either.
Exactly, because if they can get him for a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the way it should be, the sort of draft. Because, like, I think a draft to every single player that is on the open market is a bit too much. Like, I think players need to have the option to go where they want to go. But if a player is willing to go on the open market and just see what they can get, and money is a motivating factor,
Yep.
you don't grudge them against it. We get a draft day, and then they get what they want as well. If they're willing to go to Canberra for $1 million, then that's what will happen. I think the players who are willing to just pack up and move and go to a struggling club who is willing to give them the money, then they deserve to get that pay packet.
Yeah, 100%. I like it. I reckon that's cool.
Oh, I must have heard it from somewhere else because I never usually come up with good ideas like that. Okay, let's review round 8. So it's going to be a bit different for us. It's going to be like a short and sharp thing. We're not going to review every game. We'll touch over things that we think we might have missed after we've done the basic template of it. So we're going to do best player of the weekend, best moment of the weekend, best team of the weekend, bounce back and surprise performance of the weekend, worst team of the weekend, and then we'll add anything we feel like we missed. I feel like there's things in here that I haven't put in that I really kind of do want to touch on.
Yeah.
You want to say something?
No. Let's go.
Okay. Best player of the weekend. I'm kicking it off. Sandon Smith for the Roosters. I think with Sam Walker being out as their number 7, as their halfback, it's really been under the microscope, their halves pairings. Like Chad Townsend really struggled earlier in the year. I think Sandon Smith has really come out and made a fist of it. And, every time Dylan Brown came on the market, Lockie Galvin come on the market, the Roosters have been like the number 1 club that everyone's been like, he's going to go to the Roosters. I think with how Sandon Smith has been performing this year, I think he's nearly the perfect partner for Sam Walker. And what the Roosters have been doing, they've been so impressive this year with the roster they've got. Still baffles me that they got rid of Terrell May.
Yep.
But they're building towards something.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Sandon Smith's great, but what's funny? Like I was speaking to Hainsey, and because I put a post up about it, who should be the 6 when Sammy Walker comes back, mate. I reckon 90% of Roosters fans want Hugo in there for the kicking game. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, for the kicking game. And then you have Sandon as 14 coming off the bench playing either 9, 7 or 6 or a lock forward sort of role.
I don't know. I kind of seen Hugo as like the long-term, probably like lock potentially. I think he's too big at the moment. Like I think he's a big body. Really
yeah, but this is the thing as well. Like when you got Sam, right? You got Sam who's quite a small build.
His kicking game.
His kicking game isn't the best. Yeah. You've got a big 5'8" there in Hugo, who's a big body. He'll run really well. He's a great runner of the footy. You should watch his New South Wales Cup highlights. He's an absolute freak. But he'll, get through his work, and that's in that department. But then on last tackle, you've got another option, and more so a long kicking game option as well to get them out of trouble if they, don't get the momentum in their sets. And I think it's been particularly helpful with the Roosters, considering they've got a lot of guys out or they've lost a lot of size through the pack. Jared, Terrell May, Lindsay Collins is out injured. They've lost a lot of size there. And I think that it's been big for them to have that kicking game in Hugo that just gets them out of trouble on last tackle plays, and then they can get a good kick chase on, and then Radley can smash some bloke, down the field. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that it would be so valuable, plus having Sam Walker there, who can obviously do some crafty stuff in and around the ruck, and then you get Sandon coming on through the middle, doing what he does. Like, even in that try that he scored on the weekend, that ball bounced off Tedesco, he catches it, runs the field. Like, just having him roaming around the middle of the field, acting like a second 5'8", or going into hooker to support Watson as he goes into that role, like, that would just be a deadly little 9-14 combo as well. Like, I like it. I think that he could do it.
Yeah, he's very good at 5'8", Sandon. But, like, Hugo would also work as well on the left side. He's a left foot kicker. And like we've seen in the past, Sam Walker, he's so flashy that someone who just does their job, makes their tackles, does the kicking,
it's perfect for him.
He's the perfect person for Sam Walker. But I just think that Sandon has come so far this year, in my opinion, probably being the main guy, which is a detriment to Sam Walker coming back, because I think they're going to have some things to work out with. But I just think he's the kind of player where he plays off the cuff, and I think that kind of... Like Sammy Walker, very similar to the Nico Hines, Braden Trindle combo where...
They can take turns?
No. If it worked perfectly, they would take turns. The Nico Hines, Braden Trindle combo, I just hate. I hate it so much.
It's been actually really bad over the past few weeks.
It's been so bad. I think they've got to get Atkinson in there. But that's another topic for another day. But we've seen Sandon and Sam Walker play together. I think they're just a different style of player where Sam Walker wants his hands on the ball all the time, and I think Sandon Smith is the kind of guy that doesn't need that.
Yeah, but then we see that when they come back together and we see that happen, whether it be this year or next, I feel like they're going to really, it's going to be a detriment to their play, because I think that they're both going to want the ball. And then that's going to, and especially when they're both off the cuff and they both want the big play, it's just going to be a nightmare. I think that you're better off having Hugo there, not to steer the ship, but to be, like if Sam Walker goes too loose and he goes too off the cuff, Hugo can sort of rein it in a little bit and be not a Cooper Cronk, because that's a wild comparison, but he can be that sort of guy to sort of rein it back in, calm down the team. And because at the moment, even still with Hugo and Sandon there, with how crafty Sandon is, they want to score on every set. Like that's a big thing for the Roosters, that it's been a detriment to them for the past few seasons, but they want to score on every set. Could you imagine if it was Sandon and Sam Walker in the halves?
Yeah,
like
but
that would just be that times 1,000.
I also think this is why the Roosters halves pairing hasn't worked for a long time as well, because Cooper Cronk has been the halves coach of Sam Walker, and trying to make him a player that he's not. Maybe you just work with what you got. That's what I mean. Don't try and be someone different.
But that's what I mean, though. So then Cooper Cronk would spend more time with Hugo, making him into a bit of that style of player.
Yeah. And
then
fair.
Sam Walker can be the guy, maybe under a Piercy or someone like that can just be that off the cuff little number six type of guy. And Hugo can run the team as a 7, and Cronk can work closely with him more so than trying to turn Sam Walker into something that he's not.
I 100% agree that Hugo and Sam Walker is a great pairing. I just think
you love Sandon, mate.
I think
I love him too, but I reckon that he could kill it in a utility role. And I think that people, when someone says, I think that this person would be great off the bench, people look at that and go, oh fuck, they must not think he's good. Like,
yeah.
Number 14 jersey.
It's not the
isn't like it's not a diss or it's not like a harsh sort of thing. It's like I think that he would have a great impact coming on as that utility. Look how valuable Tyron Wishart is, and Kurt Mann and these sort of guys. Like, I think that it's more a compliment than it is a diss.
And look what Dylan Walker's done for Parramatta this year. Like, he's probably been one of their best players, and like, you're not even thinking putting him in the starting side just because he's so good off the bench.
Yeah, 100%.
Who was your player of the weekend?
Mate, I'm going to go in a different direction. Terrell May. I just have an appreciation for my front rowers. 85 minutes, 41 tackles only, like none missed, none. Absolutely none missed, 41 tackles. Just in the ability to play that long. I thought he would come off at the golden point for sure, and I was looking at my Supercoach side going, please don't come off. Give some more points. But he was great, had some real big moments. Defensively was just as perfect as you could be. Him and Pole have just built a perfect little 1-2 punch there through the middle. 12, more focused on the defensive side of things. Love Terrell May. And I almost think that you have to, and this is going to be a little bit of a sneak peek to my Origin side, but you have to start him. Me
and Hads last week put him in both of our sides starting. Yep. And I think, I've seen a lot of pushback saying, Terrell May bench, this person start. He's a big minute forward. There's a quote out there saying that Benji, he said to Benji, why the hell did you take me off? What did I do wrong? He played that 90 minutes not wanting to come off. That is ridiculous as a front rower. I think he 100% deserves that Origin jersey. Yep. And sneak peek into.
But even when he's been playing 60, 70 minutes, he still has similar stats. He runs for 200 meters. He does something ridiculous. He's a gun, and even when they're struggling to sort of find attack as well, and you sort of find their groove, he gets in at first receiver and does some weird stuff with the ball and acts like an Isaiah Yeo sort of guy.
He's got the ball playing too, doesn't he? He's got the offload.
Super silky.
Got the offload. He turns his front rowers in as well.
The only thing that I think he needs to add to his game to make him elite would just be to hit the line hard. Sometimes he can go into
leg speed.
Yeah, just to sort of go into the line, with more of a I want to break the line sort of mindset rather than I want to look for an offload and try and create a second phase play. Even though the Tigers are great in second phase, it would just be something that would take him from he's outstanding at the moment. He'd be unbelievable if he just had some built up that confidence to go hard into the line and try and break the line and then look for the offload.
But also, for the Origin side in particular, if you've got Payne Haas running off the back fence, and then you've got Isaiah Yeo playing a similar role where he can distribute the ball as well, and then you've got Terrell May who comes in there looking for the offload. They're all different styles of player. I guess like shutting down Haas is the game plan, but you've got Yo who can also play that sort of role as well.
So hard to defend as a middle, eh?
Yeah.
Like their middles would struggle, Queensland.
Like you wouldn't know what to do if you're prepared to tackle someone and you're like, who am I tackling? Isaiah Yo, Terrell May, or Payne Haas?
Payne Haas offloads as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's just like you wouldn't be able to really defend it because you just don't know what you're going to get out of each tackle.
Yeah, 100%. I guess notable mention to. There was Tom Dearden and Scott Drinkwater. I think they played really well as well. Tom Dearden, 5 try assists.
Teddy was great too for the Roosters.
Teddy was so good.
Teddy was really good for the Roosters.
One of your boys, actually, I was going to bring him up later.
Yeah.
Isaiah Katoa. You're really a fan of Isaiah Katoa. I think he's coming really along nicely this year. No. I know what question you're going to ask, and no.
What? What am I going to ask?
What were you going to ask?
Well, I was going to say, do you reckon he should be in the Origin squad?
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. No. Like, I get where you're coming from with that. I've seen you post it a couple of times.
Yeah.
What Les is referring to, he thinks Isaiah Katoa should be in the Origin squad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's time yet. I think maybe a year or two away. I think he's come along so
different.
nicely, and like, you know, he's definitely matching it with the elite halfbacks at the moment. But like realistically, if there's an injury to Cleary, Moses goes in.
I think if they both go down though, he's the first guy I want in there.
You reckon?
Yep, 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt.
I don't think Nico goes in, to be honest.
No. I think that if Moses and Cleary, like worst comes to worst, they both go down injured or they rule themselves out, he's the first guy I want in there.
Adam Reynolds?
No. I think Adam Reynolds is too injury prone.
One game,
he's
who are
too
you
injury
picking?
prone.
One
Isaac
game, who
Katoa.
are you picking?
Isaac Katoa.
Oh.
Mate, Adam Reynolds, he's too injury prone. I think he'd get done in the first 5 minutes.
I'll tell you what I love about Isaiah Katoa. Like, he's 21 years old. He kicks the ball higher and further than anyone. Like, his kicking game is so elite at the moment, and I think that's what a lot of teams struggle with. Like, you talked about Sam Walker before. That's why they want Hugo Savala in there. And he's so quick with what he's doing now. Like, he plays quick, he plays slow, and he's got the ball on a string at the moment.
But like, he's at the stage now. He's like 22 years old, but his mindset is of like a 35-year-old halfback. Like the game's almost in slow motion for him. He can just sort of assess every situation really well. His kicking game's got a lot better. You know, his assessment of different situations and scenarios, even for Tonga when he played in the World Cup, so plenty of times where he'd make an assessment wrong, you know, and he'd make the wrong decision, and then he'd sort of be a little bit down about it, and you know, you wouldn't see much of him for a few more sets, and then he'd get back into it. Now, if he makes an error, which is rare, he'll click straight into that mindset and go, okay, what's my next job?
Yeah.
He'd make a big tackle in defence, or he'd, you know, have a big moment there, and then he'd come at you again with something different. I think that he's so far ahead of where he should be right now. And,
100%.
Mate, I'd get him in there for the experience. Him and Toby Couchman, I'd get in the squad for experience.
I guess for experience, it's very different. But also, like, you have it's usually a 1 week camp where you need to go in all guns blazing, and if you're not planning on playing him, like, I mean, what am I saying? If he's the future, then he's the future.
Yeah.
But also, Cleary's 26. Like, Cleary's still got a long time left. So
it'll be interesting, mate.
Yeah, not pushing back on him, just trying to.
Yeah, of course. I understand. I just think he's ready. I think that he'd be great just to have a bit of experience.
I don't know. I just think like in NRL first, like nail that for a year. Like a lot of the time.
Yeah, I get it. I just, I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. He's definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
That's why I brought him up because like I think he's probably, besides maybe Adam Reynolds, he's probably the best halfback in the competition at the moment.
Right now, for sure.
He's probably even better than Reynolds at the moment, considering how the Dolphins have gone.
People aren't talking about it. He's just beat Penrith and Melbourne back to back. Teams would struggle coming off a back-to-back Melbourne-Penrith draw.
Yeah, 100%.
He's beat both of them by big score lines.
Yeah, 100%.
It's huge.
Best team of the weekend.
Best team of the weekend. I've got the Cowboys. Really impressed with them. Their second half especially was huge. They just came out of the guns blazing.
Yeah, like 30 points in the last 20 minutes.
Just shut them out. The Titans were good in the first half. They played quite well. I thought that... I just think as well, like, there's a difference between, like, we talk about it a lot on my podcast, completions. You can complete high and play well. They completed at, like, 86%, I think it was, by the end of the game, the Titans. You can complete well, but if your attack isn't good and you're not taking risks, then you're gonna lose. And that was the Titans pretty much, because the Cowboys, they completed at like 70-something%, and they flogged the Titans because they were taking risks in attack.
Yep.
Drinkwater and Dearden had absolute blinders running the footy, creating opportunities. Like Jason Taumalolo's been in unbelievable form to start the year. People aren't talking about it. He's been great starting for them. I just think the Cowboys, they're on a bit of a streak at the moment. They're Will Ferrelling. They're streaking. I think that, they could definitely have a good next few weeks.
Yeah, 100%. My best team, probably the brother side of this side, the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
I think Cobbo at fullback just really straightened them up. I think a lot of their first 7 weeks with Reece Walsh at the back, they've really been sliding across in attack a lot, and they've kind of been caught on the edges a lot. Haven't been using their strength with their forward pack, and just with Cobbo at fullback, just running straight off that kick return.
But he plays flat as well. So like in their spread sets, he plays a lot flatter. And the big criticism of Ben Hunt and Walsh was that Walsh loves to get the ball with a lot of space and then make an opportunity. Ben Hunt loves to have his fullback playing flat. I think that's a big reason as to why Hunt and Sloan, they sort of took a while to gel, because Sloan's another fullback that does love a bit of space. Walsh is the same. He loves to get that space, like about 5 or maybe a little bit more meters away from the defensive line, and have that time to sort of assess, where's the overlap, where's the space, do I need to kick it, do I need to pass it, what am I doing? Whereas Cobbo, because he's just so big and strong and he has so much he can hit you with, he gets the ball flat. If you get to him too quickly, he'll bounce you off. He'll get an offload. He can obviously, if you do rush up, he can get the space because he's quick enough to get into space. He can assess things a lot quicker, and therefore he can play quite flat. And it suits Hunt, whereas Mam and Walsh are great together because they're both very, attacking players. Mam's used to giving him a lot of space to create. That dynamic works.
Yeah, and what I'm finding when Ben Hunt gets the ball, like there's not much space between Ben Hunt and the sideline, and it leaves Reece Walsh with not much room to work with. Whereas with Ezra Mam, I hate that I'm saying this because Ezra Mam, he's actually available to get picked next week, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But Ezra Mam he'd run that hard line, and Adam Reynolds would be the first receiver. Pretty much Ezra Mam wouldn't touch the ball, or it's straight to Walsh from where he is. So, interesting to see how that turns out when they come back.
But Cobbo as well, like the big thing for Cobbo is that if he makes an error, he's so much more, and this is going to sound shitty, I'm going to sound like a shitty person here, he's a lot more resilient. He'll make an error and he'll go, right, next job. Similar to what we spoke about with guitar. Whereas Walsh, he'll make an error and he'll go, fuck. He'll just go, oh, no. And he'll sort of dwell in it for a bit. You know what I mean?
No, I really enjoyed Cobbo at fullback. And I think I don't know, I was thinking of scenarios when Reece Walsh comes back, how they could kind of make that work. And like Reece Walsh at 5'8" was something I was thinking about. Like he started at the Warriors at 5'8", but just in the front line, I don't know. Like Reece Walsh, he's an elite fullback when he's on, but I just think it's not working for him at the moment. Maybe Ben Hunt going to hooker eventually will.
I think as soon as Mam comes back in, Walsh is going to be a completely different player.
Yeah. I think so too. I think just on another kind of topic with Ben Hunt, Dragons doing better without Ben Hunt this year, and we thought Ben Hunt was carrying their side. The Broncos not doing as well as we thought they would, even though Adam Reynolds is playing really good. Haas and Carrigan.
I think it's just new dynamics. I wouldn't put that on Hunt.
Yeah, no, I'm just...
Okay, I'll get that.
I'm not putting it on Hunt. I'm just saying, like, I thought Hunt was an elite player for a long time, and I just think maybe he's a bit of a team killer, like a bit of a culture killer, like a bit of like a Braden Trindle where when he's hot, but when he's not, like, it's a detriment to the team because he just wants his hand on the ball so much. Like, just got to learn to be that second receiver in the backline plays and distribute the ball early rather than trying to just hold it up that fraction second to try and get that try assist.
I think like when you play and you're the man of a team for so long.
Oh, 100% agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just second nature.
Yeah.
I'm the man here. Give me the ball. Let's go.
And you know what? I feel that because in OzTag, like in OzTag, I was that guy. Like I'd have my hands on the ball so much, and it works sometimes and works sometimes not. But then I went into a team where a lot of other people much better than I was.
Yeah.
And
You got to take a backward seat.
it was easy to take a backward step because they were so much better than me. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like every time I had the ball, I was still trying to do what I was doing. Like I wasn't playing my role at being. So it is a much. I know I'm talking Oztag compared to Rugby League, NRL. It's very different.
Are you playing footy this year?
No. You
didn't end up playing?
Nah, I was too scared. Maybe next year. Sports Shed TV charity match will get me next year. 100%. I'm pretty sure.
I'll be back.
Worst team of the weekend.
Newcastle, and I think they're the worst team so far this year. I've been really disappointed with
After
them.
the first 2 weeks, I thought they were the best team in the competition.
Yeah, they've just had a really disappointing past few weeks.
Yep.
And I think a big part of that is their over-reliance on KP. You can tell. You watch them play footy, the thing is, like, people are saying they need structure, they need a good halfback coming in, which I in part agree with. I also think as well, they've got a good structured halfback in Cogger. However, his idea of structure and the idea of structure that they've sort of implemented at the Knights is, let's get, 2 settlers on 1 and 2. Tackle 3 and 4, I want the ball in KP's hands because he'll break the game open. And KP doesn't like that. He doesn't like it because you can tell he gets the ball on tackle 3 and he'll find a forward to give it to on a 2 pass. He doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing on KP because I honestly think that, like, he's totally in the right to be that way as well. He doesn't need to have 30, 35 runs a game. He doesn't need to be James Tedesco of 2019, 2020. Yeah. He just needs to, get the ball when it's on, and then he'll create something amazing. He'll do that with Fletcher Sharp. That dynamic will work like it did in the early rounds of the comp. But they're relying on him way too much. I think they, in part, haven't got the right halfback to recognise that they need to create a game plan based on the defence, not based on, let's get KP the ball and he'll do something with it.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I thought, like, at the start of the year, Fletcher Sharp would take that kind of reliance on KP away from him, but it just hasn't eventuated at the moment. I thought Dylan Lucas being out was really detrimental to them for a long time, and I thought him coming back would change their side. I think also KP just hasn't looked like hungry, like as hungry as he was in the first 2 weeks, like hands on the ball, running, trying to absolutely do everything.
But I think as well, when there's such an over-reliance on you and you're getting the ball so much throughout the game like he is at the moment, because he's pretty much getting on every tackle 3, he gets the ball in his hands. Yeah. I just feel like he'd be worn out. Be like, guys, stop giving me the fucking ball.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I don't think it's a negative thing that he doesn't look hungry, because, like, every time he probably does get the ball in good ball trying to do something, he's getting shut down so easily, which is, it's a lot to do with they're just not doing enough in the middle. It's crazy. Like, do you think Adam O'Brien's under pressure?
Well, this is the thing, because they've made the 8 a lot of times since he's been in there. And I had this discussion with Nilso. Shout out to you, Nilso. I think that they've gotten to the 8 so many times now where it's like, it's not like he's not been successful by the end of the year, because they're not doing all the right things, but they're doing the right things to get into the 8 and to get into finals. I just think that the in-season success that they've had, especially at the start of seasons and midpoint of seasons, has drawn everyone to that sort of conclusion. And to be honest, like, if that's the reason he gets sacked, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's been poor. The in-season form of the Knights, especially at the start and midpoint of seasons, it has been poor. Yeah. So, yeah, look, I think he is under a bit of pressure. I think that the Knights themselves are going to be in a very hot pot at the moment in regards to, if they don't change something soon, they're probably going to be worse for it.
I also think if they're serious about, like, giving Adam O'Brien a chance, or whether they've made the decision up, because usually by now clubs probably made their decision on it by now. Like, if they lose 3 more weeks, like, if he's gone, then that means the decision's been made now. Whereas if he wins the next 3 weeks, then he's saved himself by that regard. So if he loses the next 3 weeks and they've decided that he's going to go after that, then they should really make the decision now. Well, not necessarily get rid of him, but speak to someone like Brad Arthur, because this new team is coming in 2027. There's not very many good coaches on the market. Brad Arthur is just sitting there. He's a very good coach.
He's just bought a house in WA, Brad Arthur.
No way.
Yeah, he bought a house.
He was the front runner for the
Yeah.
Western Australia job. So I just thought like Matt Arthur at the club.
Yeah,
So
100%.
like
It makes sense.
It would make sense, but that's a dagger because he would suit the Western Australia side too. Like I think he'd be a great coach for a rebuild, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I guess.
Do you bring Jackson Hastings in?
Oh, for sure. They've chopped and changed their halves way too much.
But I think that he's probably the only halfback in there that would be able to direct them in the right way for me in the squad at the moment.
He was the one that unlocked KP to his best potential in 2023.
Yeah.
Like, whether he's an arsehole or not, just get over that. Get over that. Lockie Gowan's playing for the Tigers. Jackson Hastings can play for the Knights.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that they need to sort of look at that, look across the room and sort of just, make the decision.
I think it'd be an easier decision for them in the other sense if there was a halfback nailing the spot, but they've already had 3 different halfbacks this year, whereas, like, if Cogger had nailed down that role, then it would make sense to leave Cogger in there.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're struggling and they're still chopping and changing their halfbacks.
I think there has been a little bit of a shift there in regards to what they're thinking with Hastings because he has recently moved. They've been playing him a lot in New South Wales Cup.
Back to halfback.
He has recently moved into halfback.
Wow.
Because Will Price has gone back to the Super League.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
he is playing in the half, so maybe he does come in.
My worst team of the weekend, we've talked about Penrith. I thought they were disappointing.
Yeah.
The Titans.
Yeah.
I know they've got 50 put on them and they were in the contest for a lot of the time, but this is just typical Titans, like not being able to seal the performance. I think the Titans have such a good roster, and I want to pose a question to you.
Yeah.
They're doing a roster clean out on their outside backs that are like sitting in reserve grade at the moment. Mm-hmm. Do they need to do a clean out of the ones that are in first grade? Because like Brian Kelly's been there for 2 or 3 years. And defensively, like, yeah, he has good contact when he hits the player, but like, he's just one example. But their outside backs defensively have just been awful for years. Do they need, is it a coaching thing? Is it just the personnel? Like, do they need to change their kind of style?
Ken Mamalo's been sitting in there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
He just got released on compassionate grounds as well.
Who?
Ken Mamalo.
Yeah, because they're trying to clean it out. So.
Yeah. Fuck, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, they've got depth there. So like not Alfred Smalley, Alan Fitzgibbon has been playing there. He looks like a bit
Played
of a weapon.
well the other week.
Have you seen his TikTok?
No, I haven't seen his TikTok.
It's a bit rogue.
My brother loves him. My brother loves him.
He's a character on TikTok. Like he's a big Ashes and he's 26 years old. But like, yeah, I hope he does well. He's a big body. Like he's different for the Titans. Like the Titans are usually the fast outside backs. I think Jojo Fafita. Drew's still out on him for me, to be honest.
I love him.
Carm Piera, Drew's still out on him like he's an attacking weapon.
Yeah.
But I think Brian Kelly's the one that just... I looked at his stats for the last 3 years. He hasn't missed many games. So I'm just like, if they change something up there, like, will it change things?
Yeah.
Like, I know they like to push Bo Firma out there sometimes. I don't think that's the issue.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the solution. I just think, if they got someone like... Stephen Crichton's a bit of a stretch, but like just someone who could defensively do a job. Tom Opicic.
Yeah. He's at the Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah, there you go.
Fuck, how is he not playing first grade?
Because Herbie and Jake Averillo was killing it this year.
That's true.
My God.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, look, I agree. I think that they do need to get someone like that. I almost think that... wouldn't be like defensively he did a job, and if they they're gonna have to do a reshuffle anyway this week with Kieran Foran coming back in. Does AJ maybe just go in the centres?
Does AJ go back to fullback?
Nah, Jalen de Groot's been good. He's been really good.
I guess since Jaden Campbell's out for a while still.
Yeah.
Like
plus Keanu Kinney's out for a long stint still too. I think that Jalen de Groot's the guy that they got to give the opportunity to. He's been unreal for them. Well, for the most part, he's been great. I think that his attack's great, super silky, very different to Kinney and to AJ and to JC. Like he's just super. Like he plays like a second 5'8". He's just ice.
I don't mind Brimson out in the centres. Like I think
didn't work last time. I think they just did it wrong last time though.
I think so too. But like we've seen him at 5'8", he hasn't really
Yeah.
set the world on fire at the moment.
I reckon if you were to chuck him on the left and you'd have him next to Foz would get the best out of him out of centre easy.
100% agree. 100% agree. But the Titans, their woes still continue. And to top it off, they play the Bulldogs this week, who haven't won a Magic Round game, mind you. So, and
Mate,
they've got a few players
absolutely fuming after they got done by the Broncos.
Yeah, 100%. A few players are suspended: Matt Burton, Tupanua, and Josh Curran. So, if they're going to get the Bulldogs on any occasion, this week's the week, and especially when they got the Yips and Magic Round. I did skip this, but best moment of the weekend.
It was tough for me. There was a few good moments, but I think that just the Broncos and their win, just over the past few weeks, a lot of criticism about their side and what they were doing, and Walsh, his form. A lot of criticism around the Broncos for them to get a win and to do what they did, especially how they started that game against the side that's first on the ladder, undefeated. I think it's a huge moment for them, just sort of turn things around and to start to get a bit of momentum. Obviously, Adam Reynolds, it's going to be interesting to see if he's out or in this week. But yeah, for me, that was the moment of the round. That's just the Broncos getting up and obviously turning the narrative a bit.
My moment of the weekend, Lachie Galvin has been in the news headlines for weeks and weeks, finally comes back into the side, makes an impact, and Adam Dewey, the person who took his position for last week, they united as a club. He kicked the goal from the 29-metre line, and at Leichhardt Oval, I think it was a really good win against the Sharks. Golden point moment. I just love what the Tigers are doing at the moment. Terrell May, Adam Dewey, Lachie Galvin, Jerome Luai, team first, but
I mean, Lachie Galvin's pretty team first on the weekend.
He was.
He was pretty team first on the weekend. And just his interview after the game as well with Fox League, I love that. He was just very, look, it's not about me, it's about the team. Coming back in, there's been a lot of talk about me for the past 2 weeks, but we've handled it well as a team. Very rarely was he talking about himself and what he was doing. He was very the team has been under scrutiny for the past few weeks. I've come back into the team, doing what's best for the team, and we're getting the win. It was really, really nice to hear him have that sort of approach to coming back into a side, especially after everything that's happened and all the headlines and what he's apparently said and all this sort of stuff. For him to come back and just say, look, I'm here for the team, I'm here for the Tigers, was just really good to see.
You know what? He's a kid too, and he hasn't showed that sort of arrogance thinking me as well. So, I like that he's been under the microscope and pretty much delivered what he's been delivering this whole time. So
he's 19 years old. People got to remember that too when they read all these headlines and things like that. Isaac Moses would have a hell of a lot to do with the statements that he's releasing and, things like that. You got to remember how much power these managers, especially for a young kid like Lachie Galvin with the, world still at his feet from a career perspective. I think that people really got to keep that in mind when they give him scrutiny.
Hey, when I was 19,